Start by creating a new file. We're going to go 8 by 8, 300 pixels per inch, RGB color, transparent background. This one is going to be called moving or move one part. And actually, we should probably make that one word for later. So I'm putting dashes in between. Move one part. Create. All right, from here, doesn't really matter what your background is. So if you want to take a minute and, put ground, or you just want it to be a plain color, whatever you want to do is fine. I'm going to put down just some grass and some sky. And then if I flip-flop these layers and control click to merge them. And now I'm going to make a new layer for my character. Whatever your character is, and this, for practice, you could just do a simple person. So in order to just make this really easy, kind of painless, I'm going to, and this is going to look clunky, and don't worry about that, that's not the point. I'm going to make a torso, and I'm going to leave, well, because I'm not sure what I want to do, so I'm actually going to, let's see, get some legs. I know this is not proportional, despite the fact that that's one of the things we've been talking about recently. All right, so legs. Notice I'm making new layers for this stuff, right? If I want to be able to move something, I need it to be on its own layer. And then because I didn't think about it ahead of time, so new layer, and I'm going to add the top part of an arm, and then I'm going to make a new layer and make the bottom part of the arm. And then I'll make a new layer and make the top part of the arm. Again, I'm not worried too much about proportional or not proportional at the moment. I'm just worried about getting pieces. And you can always perfect this later when you do your actual character. All right, but now I have 4 arm layers that are probably really confusing because they're all very similar and who knows where they're gonna go, right? So now my labeling comes into play. So I'm gonna do lower left arm, and notice that I was turning stuff on and off to make sure I have the right one. So upper left arm, or I could have written left upper arm, whatever works for you. The labeling doesn't have to be exactly what I'm doing. It can be whatever you can refer back to and understand what pieces everything is. So this, for me, is upper right arm. But knowing your left and your right is going to be important for this one. Legs. Nope, can't spell. Legs and torso. Okay, now I know just for this piece that I'm going to leave the legs not moving and the torso not moving. So I don't need to duplicate these, I can just leave them where they are. To move the arms, depending on what I'm gonna do, I need to create some duplicates. And this might get pretty hairy in terms of, what have I duplicated, what have I not duplicated? So what I'm gonna do for my arms specifically is put them into a folder or a group. Okay, so this is going to be arms, all right? In order to move them, I'm going to duplicate this, and I should be able to do Control J, and this is going to give me a copy of my arms. To move one piece, similar to the rolling ball and all the other exercises you've done, let's say I want to move the lower arm first, the lower right arm. So I'm going to, because I've duplicated it, right? Step 1 is duplicate, step 2 is move. So with my move tool, and because I want to rotate it, I'm going to go ahead and do a Control T, and I'm going to rotate it slightly, but oh no, now it looks like he's falling off. So I'm going to move it so it's still attached. Okay, so good, that's how I want it. Now I'm going to duplicate these arms again. Dive into this. Lower right arm, Control T, turn it a little bit. Oh no, it looks disconnected. Let me make sure that it's aligned with everything appropriately. And if I need to turn off the other ones to make sure that it doesn't look bad, I can do that. Okay, looks good. Control J. And now I've come halfway. Now I maybe want to move the rest of the arm. Now I want to move it from the shoulder. So I might need to move both the lower and the upper arm simultaneously. So if I do a Control click, so I'm selecting 2 layers at once now, Control T, and let's say I want it to move up. Again, I don't want to do big changes, but let's say as it's moving, it's also straightening out a little bit. So now I'm just going to click on the lower right arm, Control T, and pull this back down a little bit. So this is going to look straighter. So this is my focus on the right arm. I could simultaneously have the left arm moving, which is why I kept everything separate. So I'm going to go back in time to my arms layer down here. This is my original, right? So I don't want to move anything if that's my starting point. So I'm actually going to go to arms copy. And let's say, well, this arm is moving up, this one is moving down. So my lower left arm, my upper right arm, or left arm, Control T. So again, your left and right are going to be important here. And I'm going to turn those, so they're going to be coming this direction. And then move to the next set. And Control T, and rotate a little bit. And again, make sure that the shoulder isn't coming out of his socket, because that's not going to be all that great if it does. And then coming back to, and again, I'm holding control while I click the second one. So I'm selecting 2 layers at once. And by holding control, they don't have to be next to each other. So for example, if I wanted to only move the lower arms, and I wanted to do the same thing to them, I could do Control click and I could get both the lower. So whatever order it's in, if you're holding control, it doesn't matter. You can click on whichever layer you want. All right, so let's take a look at what the progression is. So I've got this as a start. It moves to this, it moves to that, and then it moves to that. For this exercise, you don't need to do too many of these. I did 4. You could do 4 if you wanted to do more because you're getting into it. That's totally fine. It doesn't have to be an arm. You could move the legs, you could move the head, but the concept is the same in terms of moving one piece. You need it to be separate from the other pieces in order to be able to move it independently. From here, you would save this as a PSD file. And you'd already named it, so fairly easy to do that. And then follow the video to actually turn it into an animated GIF.